similarly to catapults. The projectiles are placed at the end of a long beam in a sling. They are made mainly of wood, with ropes for the sling. Stones were common ammunition fired. Because of their high trajectory, trebuchets were used for stage warfare. Their high trajectory made them very useful against the interiors of towns and castles. As terror weapons, they were also used in artillery duels to disable the enemy's own machines.
Hi guys, I'm going to talk about 1800s cannons. So, historians say that the 1800s was a major breakthrough in cannon design and accuracy. The 1800s was the start of an industrial revolution. The South was more based on agriculture, and the North was based on industrial production. So a lot of the cannons were made up north. The Civil War took place in the 1800s, so the military started to buy cannons so they could use them toward their enemy. In this case, it was North versus South. So when they bought the cannons, it produced more money into the economy of America. And the 1800s wasn't long after they became America. So, yeah. Around 1810 and 1820, they began to use iron to make cannons. They started using iron because the iron industry was growing very quickly. But in the 1830s, they also started using bronze. They used gunpowder to fire the solid iron balls that they heated up. The gunpowder was made up of charcoal, saltpeter, and sulfur. It took less time to refill the cannon, so all you had to do was put it in the gunpowder, load the heated iron ball, and fire. Another ammunition that they used for cannons that was very popular in the 1800s was shells. The shells were an explosive projectile, so it caused a lot more damage when it hit their target. One of the cannons that was developed in the 1800s was the Cannon of Weser D12. The nickname for this cannon was the 12-pounder Napoleon. The cannon had a short, tight barrel, so the projectile fit very tightly and well, but it had an accurate shot. This cannon was mainly used in the American Civil War. The cannons in the Civil War played a major part in the war because during the Civil War, they were able to produce mass quantities of barrel ammunition. And another cannon used in the Civil War was the smooth-bore cannon, which had used short ammunition and shot in short ranges. And it was one of the few cannons that didn't have to use the practice of casting lines down cannon barrels. It used to fire shells and iron balls, and it had more accurate shot. But it was far more dangerous because the close range shot, so that would mean you have to get closer to your enemy. The role these cannons played in the military was that they were mostly used on ships because of the amount of damage they were able to produce to the ships, and they would sink them. Another popular cannon was the Armstrong gun. This cannon was used the practice of casting lines inside the cannon's barrel. Casting lines down the cannons gave it geoscopic stability, which improved the accuracy. The Armstrong was first manufactured in Europe in the 1850s by Alswick Ordnance Company in the Royal Arsenal, Woolwich. And this cannon also used iron balls and shells, same as the other ones. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Cannons were mainly used in the 17 and 1800s, but they are still used today and can drastically change the outcome of a modern-day war. Cannons in the 20th and 21st centuries are usually divided up into subcategories and given separate names. The most widely used types of modern-day cannons are the howitzers, mortars, guns, and autocannons, although a few super guns, extremely large, custom-designed cannons have also been constructed. Modern-day artillery is used in a variety of roles, depending on its type. By the early 20th century, infantry weapons became more powerful and more accurate, forcing more artillery away from the front lines. Despite the change to indirect fire, cannons still proved to be highly effective during the World War I, causing over 75% of the casualties in World War I. The onset of trench warfare after the first few months of World War I greatly increased the demand for howitzers, as they fired at a steep angle and were thus much better suited than guns at hitting targets in trenches. Another modern-day cannon is the autocannon. An autocannon is a cannon with a larger caliber than a machine gun but smaller than a field gun. Autocannons have mechanisms to automatically load their ammunition and therefore have a faster rate of fire than artillery, often approaching and, in the case of Gatling guns, surpassing that of a machine gun. The traditional minimum bore for autocannon, indeed for all types of cannons, as autocannons are the lowest caliber pieces and have remained that 20 millimeters since World War II. Those are just some of the cannons used in the 1900s and today.